Screw you then. Wobbly indicators. Let's get the gloves on. As some of you will know, I had a set of Michelin Anarchy Adventures on this bike, and I put up a video not that long ago about my first impressions review on them. And you're sitting there, I can see you sitting there right now. Look at me, you've got sunglasses on. It's because it's a pretty day. It's a pretty day. And you're going, that's weird. Sam must have done loads of miles to do another first impressions review on a set of tyres already. No, it's because the Anarchy Adventures lasted 4,000 miles. I probably could have got maybe another 500, maybe another 1,000 if I really eked it, but nah. With this bike, they started feeling quite square. I wasn't massively confident in them. They were still fine, but they just seemed a little bit odd. Anyway, long story short, I've fitted these to my bike now. These are the Michelin Road 6s. As you would have seen in this video, if you're going to go and watch that, by the way, bear in mind that that was when I first started this YouTube stuff, and my presenting is dog shite. Should we get on the road rather than me chatting here? It's just quite nice and chilled here. Phone connected. If you'd have watched that video that I mentioned a minute ago, you would know that I've had two sets of Road 5s from Michelin. I've got to word this properly, but to me, they are the best road touring, sort of sports touring tyre on the market. They are incredibly confidence inspiring. They handle the wet stuff like it's dry, and you get some very good longevity out of them. One set I got nearly 12,000 miles out of. I think it was 11,500 miles. One set I got 10.5-ish. This is on a Yamaha Tracer 700, and that was commuting, bit of touring and stuff like that, but general sort of use rather than track days and all that sort of crap. These are the next iteration, so the Road 6s. They're meant to boast 15% better grip than the Road 5s, and like 10% extra longevity, like lifespan. This is a 160 horsepower bike that also weighs 240 odd kilos when it's fully fueled. So I'm not expecting tyres to last very long. I think the way I put it before with the Road 5s is that you just don't even think they're on. Like, you don't even think about your tyres. The tyres that were original on this bike, I hated in the wet. I absolutely detested them. Every single corner I was going into in the wet, I was sitting there going, am I going to come off? Am I going to come off? Oh, it was so exhausting to ride the bike for a long length of time in wet weather. But these, you just like, you forget you've got the tyres on, if that makes sense. Good morning. It's raining. I licked my GoPro lens this morning because apparently it's hydrophobic. If you watch the recent Wales trip I did with George, you'll know what the whole conversation was about. Good old gob in the goggles. Gob in the goggles. So if you're getting rain on you, I do apologise, but that's not a lot I can do because I live in the UK. You've been watching me do that review whilst it's been beautiful sunshine, and it's not really fair to review a all-weather touring tyre in beautiful sunshine, is it? Let's be honest. So I thought I would wait for some rain, and luckily living in the UK I don't have to wait very long to get through here. The one thing that is a negative with these tyres is they are puncture magnets. They always, I used to get them in my Road 5s as well. I used to seem to get punctures all the time. This corner's actually quite a good showing, because it is, you'll see in a second, if it's not rain all over my visor, but it looks really slippy. See what I mean? Just looks really slippy. And then I have literally no worries with this bike going around this corner. There's a drain there, went over it, literally completely fine. I mean, yes, it's not something like hardcore chicane or anything, but it's a substantial corner that is slippy in the wet, and these tyres handled it completely fine. My bike sounds better than yours. As I may have mentioned before, these are a dual compound, so they've got the harder sort of strip in the middle for like long journeys, sitting on the motorway, stuff like that. They've got the softer edges which essentially give you a stickier patch on the side. Michelin say this is a completely new tread pattern. It's not completely new, it looks pretty similar to the other one. I'll put side by side on screen now. The one on the left is my tyre and the one on the right is Emma's tyre, which is a Road 5 and it's done maybe about 8,000 miles. The gullies no longer go all the way to the middle, and the thicker channels, they go further out onto the sidewall, and not onto the sidewall, but you know what I mean, towards the sidewall. The other thing that's quite nice about these, if you have a look on Michelin's website, you'll see terms like 2CT thrown around, as in 2 Charlie Tango. That is the two compound tyre essentially. So you've got the 2 compound tyre, and then there's a 2CT plus. The plus is a reinforced carcass. Now if you had a set of the Road 5s, you may have noticed that the front liked to squirm a little bit in corners. That's because on the old version the rear was 2CT plus with the reinforced tyre, reinforced carcass, and the front was not. So the front was just 2CT. What they've done on this Road 6 is now the front is also 2CT plus. So in theory, you shouldn't get any squirming at all. But I don't know if you can tell, I'm literally just riding this like I would in the dry. I've gone over all of these white slippery lines and they don't seem to give me any movement at all. Oh, the speed camera. Sam, you've gone through that speed camera for years. You know it's there. Proper moist. Like I mentioned before, I had the original tyres on the bike. I had the Anarchy Adventures, and then I put these on. And obviously before I traded my Tracer in, I had Scorpion Rally STRs. I have to say, the first thing I thought when I got on this bike with these tyres on is I've missed having that just unlimited confidence in the tyre. See what I mean? It's just like that was quite a hard acceleration in the rain, and no problemo, nicht problemo. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll go back to me, because this is a 20-mile-an-hour road and I'm going to be doing exactly 20 mile an hour. Lol. I mean, I've already gone over that. Oh. They do exactly what you think they're going to do. They will do a bit of everything. Yes, they're not going to do the off-road stuff, and they're also not going to be the perfect tyre if you're doing track days. If you're doing track days and stuff, I think they've got like the Michelin Power 5, which I assume will have a Power 6 soon enough. But I haven't tested those, so don't ask me about them. If you watch the channel regularly, you'll know that I'm a bit of a twat on this bike. When I'm riding quickly, they definitely keep up with me. I'm still more worried about my skill rather than the tyres. They do 2 different versions of these. They have the Road 6s and the Road 6. They're either called a Road 6 Trail or a GT. I think the only difference between them is the trails are, or the GTs, are designed for heavier bikes. I think they've just got like stiffer sidewalls. I think that is it. I don't have the trails on this. These are just the standard Road 6s, and I haven't had any problems with them at all. They don't seem to squirm, they don't seem to do anything. Yeah, look, I'll show you what I mean. Easy. Jesus Christ. If I had to pick a negative on these tyres, they take a little bit of a while to scrub in, and when you're doing the scrubbing in, under braking or heavy braking, they do seem to squirm a bit, like you're doing this kind of thing. If you're braking very hard, it's nothing that's going to make you sort of cack your pants kind of thing. Just trying to find a better way of saying that than shit yourself. That bop. Putting them on this bike, the rear tyre obviously bedded in far quicker than the front, due to the fact that I'm trying to put the power down. Sorry. You'll obviously get that to a degree with most bikes, but when you've got a bit more of a torquey bike, it's going to shred the rear up quicker. So there were days where I was confident in the rear, but not as confident in the front. But other than that, like once they're worn in, it's just, again, like you just don't even think about the tyres. Oh god, the smell of this van. You know when you get an MOT done, which is like a roadworthiness test in the UK, and they tell you you've got a slight wear in your disc or something like that, you always sit there going, my car or bike or whatever is genuinely mostly spotless, and then you see a van like this and you think, how can that be on the road? I mean, I know you can't see because there's a Honda Jizz in the way, but that's got rust everywhere. It's doing 25 mile an hour. Like, that is the type of van. I'll put money on it that the guy in that van offers sweets to kids on the street corner. Christ. Anyway, where were we? I got so sidetracked by that van. Oh! That bang! Bang! Oh, Saffron Fish Company, that smells very good. Now the Anarchy Adventures wore very quickly in the middle, but they didn't. They had loads of meat left on the side, obviously because that's when you're putting all the power down in the middle. So I'd assume these will be the same thing, they'd square off quite quickly. But basically from me, they feel good, they handle well, they don't seem that noisy, but then I don't know whether that's because I'm used to Anarchy Adventures, which were a little bit noisier. They stick in the corners well, they deal with the power on the bike well, they warm up quite quickly. Drain, I hate it when they put drains on the inside of corners. The wet weather grip so far has been great, but if it's anything like the Road 5s, like, they're going to be phenomenal. Oh my god. Oh. You would have been looking at me on that camera the whole time for no reason whatsoever. Definitely not because this one can see my speedo. Thank you very much for joining me. If you've got any questions, stick them in the comment section below. Obviously I'm not Michelin customer service, so if you've got proper questions about if they will fit your bike or the build of them, go and have a look on the website. I'm just some random guy that makes videos. Very much recommend them so far. Like I said, if they're anything like the Road 5s and they do get the extra longevity, well, on this bike especially, I'm going to be really grateful and really happy with them. So thank you very much, as I said about 3 times now, and I will catch you in the next video. I'm going to go and do some knobbish riding now, or more knobbish riding should I say. I love bikes so much. Long story short, I've fitted these to my bike now. These are the Michelin Anarchy, no they're not. These are the Michelin Pilot, fucking no they're not. These are the